What's up, guys? It's Coach Vassar. Thank you for joining me with the OTF Audio Daily Beats. As always, if you're new, I appreciate you tuning in and listening to me talk about these workouts. If you find value in them, information is in description to support me. Just buy me a coffee, shoot me $5, totally cool. We're going to talk about Friday, January 3rd, which will also repeat on Monday, January 20th. It's going to be endurance on the treads, power on the rower, strength on the weight floor. This is a row run with cards in the 2G. There are no cards in the 3G. We'll talk about whole setup and everything, and then break down the treads, rower, weight floor, 3G, and then get you on out of here. So for the key concepts for the run row, we're going to have 4 rounds of coach time efforts and a 200-meter row. Each round, the tread efforts build in intensity. Today, we practice pacing. On the floor, once you prime your body with the mini bands, work on a total body strength circuit for the rest of the block. So for the setup, you do need the benches out, dumbbells, and of course, we are using the mini bands. 2G, once again, there is a tread card for it, and it will list out what the members are doing. The key thing, though, is you're actually going to time them through the tread portion itself, and then they are self-paced when it comes to the transition to the rower, complete the rower, and then get back to the treads. That's kind of on their own. So in total, we're going to see 4 rounds. Each round does get longer as we add more to the complexity of the tread portion. So round 1, you'll launch the treads together. They start with a 90-second base that you will time them through. After 90 seconds, they then have 45 seconds to get to the rower. And then once they are at the rower, they have 2 minutes to complete a 200-meter all-out row, and then they have to get back to the treadmill and get back to base as quick as possible. Okay. Now, as we are looking at this, when it comes to the timing of it, we're going to add efforts every round on the tread. So round 1 is that 90-second base. In round 2, we're also going to add a 90-second base push before they get off. Round 3, 90-second push, and then on round 4 we're going to add a 90-second push all out, and then they go right into a 30-second all out. So round 4, there is no transition to the rower. You will time them through that final round to get them going. Okay. This entire workout essentially kind of mimics the idea of pacing for a 1-mile run, where each section gets progressively more challenging as people build on their pace. So that is a good way to kind of have an analogy for it. In fact, I kind of talk about it in the daily beat, especially knowing that Transformation Challenge will start with that 1-mile benchmark this year, similar to last year. Now, when it comes to the 45-second transition, you are keeping track of that. So when they finish the 90-second base, you're still timing them. So really, you want to launch that 200-meter row at the 2-minute and 15-second mark in round 1. And then from 2 minutes 15 until 4:15, they have to do their 200-meter row, sign out of the rower, get back to the tread, and then get back to base. And then at 4:15, you're timing their next 90-second base. And then at 5:45 is when they start their 90-second base push. And then that's going to put them at 7:15 when they shut it down, head back to the rower, and then at the 8-minute mark, that's their 2 minutes to start their 200-meter all out and then get back to the treads. So just keep that in mind. You are still timing them, but that card kind of gives an idea, okay, what's happening next. When it comes to the rower, we want to try to complete the rows as quick as possible every round. So hopefully with those 3 attempts, each one gets slightly better. On the weight floor, we're going to have 3 rounds of mini band work with the squat hold lateral walk, mini band walkouts where they go into the plank and then come back, and then the crunch hold in and out. So they'll crunch up, shoulders off the ground, feet start apart, feet extend out, come back in. What I like to do with that in and out is I'll stand to the side of them and I'll place like my hand between their feet, or I'll grab like the kneel pad and place it in between, and I'll tell them, hey, try to not touch my hand or touch the pad. That way they keep tension on the bands, and that way they really feel the lateral glutes and the hip stabilizer muscles. They're gonna do 3 rounds of that, and then they are done with the mini bands. And then they have a new circuit. We're going to see goblet reverse lunge to torso rotation to a full step up. So what they're going to do here is they'll step back into a lunge, step up onto the bench, come back down. That's one. They'll do all 6 on one side and then do 6 on the other. Second movement is a lateral lunge to bicep curl. They're going to do 6 on one side, 6 on the other. It is balanced bicep curl, so after they step out, that knee will come up. They could have both feet on the floor as an option. And then that's going to be paired up with the bench chest fly to tricep extension. Me personally, that's a movement that I'm not quite a fan of, just because most people will need different weights for those 2 exercises. So this is one where, to get the most out of it, you're going to pick a weight based off of most likely the tricep extension. And they should be able to do a chest fly with that and then go into the extension. Those 3 exercises, they'll just continue to repeat. It's just under 24 minutes of a weight floor block, so just be aware of that. And then their finisher is either bicep curls or tricep extensions from the bench. The midi band work, if they really slow down and take their time, that should take 6 or 7 minutes if they do it right, and then that will give them about 15 minutes or so to do the 3 movement circuit. Because there's multiple left-right situations, double movements to make 1 rep. Each round will probably take 3 to 4 minutes to complete, so they should be able to get another 3 or 4 sets of the second circuit, and that's going to be the 2G. Like any other 2G run row, for the people who start on the rower, make sure you put wipes out prior, so that way when they are done with their warm-up, they'll wipe down the rower, then head to the weight floor. That way the tread team has a clean rower when they get onto it. Now the 3G version, no card for this one. You're going to time everything on the treads. We've seen progressive builds like this where the recovery is the start of the next block. So 14 minutes in block 1 for the treads. There's 3 blocks on the rower, 1 long block on the weight floor. So for the tread side, 90-second base, 90-second base push. Then they start round 2. They go back to base push, push, and then base push, push all out, 30-second all out. Okay. When it comes to any type of these builds, my general go-to is the increase of somewhere between 1 to 3% for a power walker. Joggers and runners use their discretion, 0.3 to 0.7, because it's going to be more about how it feels rather than just an arbitrary number that they're using, especially with these 90-second jumps and then finally like a 30-second all out, right? Intensities that they can maintain for a 90-second build for each one is going to be very different than what they could do for like a 30-second build between like a base push setup. So given that range, it's kind of helpful for them. When we look at the rower, 3 blocks, they're all set up the same way. 3 minutes for the first 2 blocks with a minute recovery in between, or a 90-second recovery in between. We're going to see a 100-meter all-out row, med ball squat, and then they're going to do that as a circuit. And they're trying to match or beat their 100-meter all-out time. Block 2, 150 meters with the med ball shoulder press. And then the last round is 200 meters, and it's a squat to shoulder press with the med ball. Most likely they'll probably get 2 rounds within each block. And then for the final block, they'll have the 200 squat to shoulder press, probably about 2 rounds, and then they finish with a 30-second all out when the treads hit their all out. On the weight floor, it is the circuit. There is no mini band work on the 3G, so it's just the 3 circuit movements for 14 minutes, and then their finisher is their choice of the bicep curl or the bench tricep extension. And that's the 3G for the Friday, January 3rd, and Monday, January 20th. Coach you down, y'all.